That Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a two-day visit to Kuwait. He will be receiving a ceremonial guard of honour at the Bayan Palace, the Kuwait Emir's official residence. He will also hold a separate meeting with the Kuwait Emir, Sheikh Meshal Al Ahmad, and the Crown Prince. This will be followed by signing of an MoU with the Kuwaiti Prime Minister, along with discussions on political relations, trade, investment, defence and culture. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also interacted with Indian workers. The camp houses a large number of Indian labourers who welcomed Prime Minister Modi with enthusiasm. He lauded their hard work and contribution to Kuwait's development. So that's Prime Minister Modi receiving a ceremonial guard of honour at the Bayan Palace, which is the Kuwait Emir's official residence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is receiving a ceremonial guard of honour at the Bayan Palace, which is the Kuwait Emir's official residence. He will be holding separate meetings with the Kuwait Emir, the Crown Prince and the Prime Minister of Kuwait, which will be followed by signing of an MoU with the Kuwaiti Prime Minister. He's also going to hold discussions on political relations, trade, investment and defence and culture. Geeta Mohan is joining us on the phone line for more on this. Geeta, the Prime Minister Modi just received the Guard of Honour. He's slated to have some important meetings with the Prime Minister of Kuwait and the Emir and the Crown Prince. Give us more details on what's on the cards.
Well, this is again a very important visit after 4 decades. We are seeing another prime ministerial visit to Kuwait. The last one was by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Right now, what we're looking at is the Guard of Honour being accorded to Prime Minister Modi at the Bayan Palace. It will be followed by a meeting with Emir of Kuwait and then the Crown Prince of Kuwait. So the entire monarchy of Kuwait is going to engage with the Indian Premier. And then there are going to be bilateral meetings with the Prime Minister, followed by MoU signing of a memoranda of understanding. There are various agreements and MoUs that will be signed between the two sides. The focus over here is going to be trade. There is a massive workforce, Indian workforce in Kuwait, and welfare of the workforce. We remember the fire incident, the Manga fire incident, that claimed many Indian workers' lives. And so yesterday when he was engaging with the Indian workers at the labour camp as also the Indian community, he emphasized on the need to have a more safety and security for Indians who are working in Kuwait. In fact, it has been a priority area across the Gulf. But beyond that, Kuwait is very strategically positioned, bordering Saudi Arabia, has been an ally and partner of the United States of America. So in the defense partnership and the IMEC projects that India is looking at, Kuwait could play a very important role. So there is going to be strategic and defense cooperation areas also that will be discussed between the two sides. So it is an all-encompassing visit. The visit was to happen in 2022, but because of COVID, it got rescheduled, and it's only now that Prime Minister Modi is visiting Kuwait.
Right, Geeta, this is also an important visit considering that the Gulf country is India's 6th largest supplier of crude oil.
Absolutely, it is very important. Crude oil and what we now have started calling and terming it as oil diplomacy is part and parcel of any engagement that India has with the Gulf, with West Asia. And Kuwait also is going to be a very important part of that entire engagement and conversation. But that's an ongoing and conversation, and one that has been uninterrupted, not disrupted by any events, global events. So that will be an ongoing conversation, a continuing to what already exists. But there are going to be various important aspects on the trade and defense strategic front which are going to be critical. So we'll have to wait and see what the memoranda of understanding are going to be between the two countries.
Right. What do the trade ties look like at the moment? I mean, this is a way to boost the GCC relations with Kuwait, isn't it?
Absolutely. Kuwait and India have had various important aspects of ties between on the defense and trade front, but primarily focused on service sector, the services. And this time around, they are looking at increasing and enhancing the trade cooperation, taking it forward to what India has been talking about, where Prime Minister Modi emphasized on Viksit Bharat and India's Viksit Bharat 2047 plans, where he is looking at how to bring investments into India. And Kuwait will also be one of those countries that they're going to talk about bringing in investments into India, looking at the growth engine of India and how Kuwait can be a contributing factor, infrastructure development, environment sustainability. These are very important aspects that will be part of the conversations. And all this relates to the economic cooperation between the two sides, whether it's trade per se of goods and products, or for that matter, developing and enhancing economic cooperation through services and through technology, through what again is being termed as digital diplomacy, where they're looking at skill, technology, manpower, enhancement and cooperation in that sector as well.
Right, Geeta, we also saw that earlier Prime Minister Modi had a heartening interaction with the labour force in Kuwait, at the labour camp. And this really is symbolic of the importance that's attached by the Prime Minister to the welfare of the Indian workers abroad.
Absolutely. Again, the incident in Manga, the Manga fire incident where we lost a lot of Indian workers, clearly showed the dire straits in which Indians work when they live in the Gulf, that there is a certain level of exploitation of Indian workers. They do get paid more than they would get paid in India, so they do go to the Gulf to work, but the living conditions are absolutely horrible. And on that front, the Indian Prime Minister did engage them. He did mention the Mangaf incident, and there is going to be a conversation on ensuring safety standards, living conditions for workers who are traveling all the way to the Gulf, here especially in particular we're talking about Kuwait, and travel so far and live in such squalid conditions. So that certainly has been a part of the conversation that Prime Minister Modi has had, not just with the officials that he would be having, but also assuring the Indian workers when he went and met them at the labour camp in the Gulf Pick labour camp, which is where he interacted with the Indian workers as well.
Right. Thanks, Geeta, for bringing us all those details on that story.